This is breaking news. The Democrats are picking USAID as the hill to die on, but we literally have whistleblowers who have told us that the CIA and USAID orchestrated Trump's impeachments the first time around, and now they were trying to do it again. This right here, guys, breaking news. Texas Dem says he'll bring articles of impeachment against Trump over Gaza. Guys, this is huge. Not only have we uncovered one of the biggest scandals in American history, but now we know where it's all come from. They have received more and more money over the past 4 years. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, and a lot of it was going towards trying to take Trump out. Trump is now doing a full investigation with Pam Bondi into every single Democrat tied to each monetary disbursement in USAID. Trump said, and I quote, "Looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies. This could be the biggest scandal of them all. Maybe the biggest scandal in U.S. history. The Democrats can't hide from this one. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to impeach Trump now. They're trying to protect their corruption. And even as we speak, billions of taxpayer dollars to known fraudulent entities are still being approved by the Treasury. Elon Musk came out this morning and says we have to stop this now. We know they're fraudulent. We know they're corrupt, and yet we are still sending taxpayer dollars to these entities. The system is broken, and when we know things like this, he says we have to stop it. We are also seeing a war in Congress right now over Doge and the Democrats. One of the things that was exposed through all this, through Doge, was that the USAID was funding 6,200 journalists across 707 media outlets all across the globe, targeting Trump in a negative way. You cannot make this stuff up, everybody. This is insane. On top of that, Trump's DOJ has slapped Illinois Chicago with a lawsuit over sanctuary city laws as they resist Trump's mass deportation. And unfortunately, Kash Patel's Senate confirmation hearing has been delayed another week. They are trying to delay Trump's agenda. They're trying to protect themselves and trying to cover up all the corruption. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can take care of you every day with the top news. I want to say thank you to all of our members. And thank you to Ruby Hoove, who's already gifted one TrueLife News membership. Y'all show Ruby some love in the chat. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. We appreciate you so much. Andy, already with the super chat donation. Let's go. Said the Ukrainian dictator Zelensky threw the Biden administration under the bus by claiming they received 58% of the $200 billion of U.S. funds. Exactly. Everybody's trying to cover their butt right now. We got a ton of breaking news. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much with the channels. We're so excited because we're getting so much things exposed, guys. This is nuts. Check this out.
By your opponent's response. They are freaking out at about a level 8.5 out of 10 because when the money train to all these left-wing organizations dries up, then they stop ginning up voter support. They stop knocking on doors for Democrats. If you're like, oh, it's only $40 billion, their budget. Do you have any idea? Folks,
That's a year.
The Donald Trump presidential campaign was about $1 billion. Can you imagine what $40 billion will do? It's a huge deal. This is a great clip. It's a little long, but I want to let it play out. It's about 1:30. It's worth your time. This is Glenn Greenwald and the great Mike Benz, who is our deep state specialist. I want you to listen to the question and then Benz's answer about USAID, how USAID, everything they do is never what they say they do. If they say it's a water project, it's really some anti-democracy project, and how they have this sense of entitlement like, hey, just give us the money and shut up. That's why they're so offended about what's going on right now. Watch this.
Whether you like it or not, Donald Trump has deputized Elon Musk to head this agency that's designed to eliminate waste, as the White House sees it. Wasteful spending, unnecessary spending. And so when the people that are part of this effort that Donald Trump has created after he won the election went to USAID, and it's happened in other agencies too, you see almost this physical resistance, like, how dare you come into our realm? You don't run us. You're just the elected part of the government. We're this agency that exists independent of you. Where does this mentality come from that they have this right to pursue their own agenda independent of any elected officials or elected parts of the government?
Well, the entire agency exists as a carefully constructed lie. And just like James Clapper and John Brennan and Leon Panetta, these are the holders of the great American closet of skeletons of state secrets. And you don't just hand that over to a random taxi cab driver because 51% of the population elected him because he does funny TikTok dances. What I'm trying to say here is if you remember the recalcitrance around sharing intelligence with President Trump, both in his 2016 presidential run and then again in the lead up to the 2024 election, I think what's happening at USAID is essentially an echo of that, which is that USAID is supposed to be untouchable. I mean, virtually, there's no USAID project on God's green earth that is honest.
Wow.
That is probably the most critical piece of information you can have. The USAID effort is not genuine. They're not out there trying to help people. They're trying to enact a bunch of anti-democratic and prop up a bunch of NGO left-wingers who are going to help Democrats stay in power. That's it. That's why you saw an insurrection yesterday up outside of USAID. You did? Yeah, did you miss this? By the Democrats' own definition of an insurrection, invading buildings, walking through open doors, this was an actual insurrection. This happened yesterday. This is why they're freaking out. Watch this. It's about 15 seconds. Check this out.
As you probably saw, Elon Musk and his crew put a gag order on AID employees. They disconnected them from email, which is putting lives at risk around the world. So we are here to enter the building and so we can hear firsthand from whoever is here at AID, or at least witness firsthand what is happening with this Elon Musk attempted takeover, which will not stand. We will prevail. Let's go.
Wow. That's an insurrection.
And then they go and walk in the building. I thought walking in the building was a freaking insurrection, but like the Chewbacca guy or something. Folks, they're freaking out because the gravy train, man, is over. The Heritage Foundation put this tweet up, and they're so right, about USAID, which is the deep state piggy bank. Number one, the deep state's not a thing. Now they're like, okay, it's kind of a thing, but it's not that significant. Remember Margaret Brennan? It's only 1% of spending. Now, number three, okay, the deep state is significant, but it's a great thing. We got to defend it. Now we're at number four. If you're opposed to the deep state, then you're the problem. Citing dopey Bill Kristol, the deep state is far preferable to the Trump state.
Can you believe
That's
this?
Michael Anton. The deep state's not happening, but it's great that it is. Let's defend it.
Wow.
I got to show you this. I can't leave. I can't leave without showing you this. Everybody stand by. Don't even dare go anywhere. Everybody needs to see this. I'm sorry, that sounded kind of like a toolbox thing to say. Don't go anywhere. This is absolute peak Donald Trump. Did you see this yesterday? It just goes to show you how a guy who is just this high-level negotiator, probably one of the most skilled politicians of our time, based on pure results, man. Pure results. Won 3 elections in a row, right? But he can also be funny and endearing at the same time. I know you may have seen this. This is the presser yesterday. A woman gets up to ask a question. It was about Afghan women. I had a hard time understanding, too. She had a very thick accent, but Donald Trump had to let her down a little bit easy. This is fantastic. Check this out.
I have a little hard time understanding you. Where are you from? Actually, it's a beautiful voice and a beautiful accent. The only problem is I can't understand a word you're saying. But I just say this, good luck, live in peace. Go ahead, please.
Did you guys see that as it happened? This is just peak Donald Trump, man. It's just, it's just who he is. No one plays the room like a puppeteer like this guy? Nobody. Nobody. He drops this major foreign policy bombshell totally out of the blue, stokes out a maximalist position. The whole world responds. And what, 8-10 minutes later, he's got everyone laughing. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't understand. It's a beautiful voice, but live in peace. That's...
Guys, thank you so much for your support, guys. We literally have over 900 people watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much with the channel. I want to show you this. The Texas Dems says that he'll bring articles of impeachment against Trump over Gaza. So we have found out, guys, that there has been whistleblowers that have come out and said what the USAID has been doing. And Donald Trump comes and pushed this post. Want to give some love to Andy, who said the globalists are trying to take Zelensky to hide the greatest money laundering operation in history. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. I believe it. And thank you so much, Mama Dragon 65, who said, great channel. Keep up the good work. God bless. MAGA 2024. Let's go. Y'all show Mama Dragon 65 some love in the chat. So right now, Trump, this is, guys, you know when Trump sends a post on True Social and it's in all caps, he's kind of upset. Just a little bit. He said, looks like billions of dollars have been stolen at USAID and other agencies. Much of it going to the fake news media as a payoff for creating good stories about the Democrats. The left-wing rag known as Politico seemed to have received $8 million. Did the New York Times receive money? Who else did? This could be the biggest scandal of them all, perhaps the biggest in history. The Democrats can't hide from this one. Too big, too dirty. 100%. And not only that, we have found out that USAID was being used as a frontman to try to take out Trump. Listen to this. And the CIA.
You have this new piece on Substack that the USAID and the CIA helped orchestrate Trump's impeachment?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse, it's a crazy story. I mean, you might forget that, the House of Representatives impeached President Trump in December of 2019. Many people may not remember that it was a CIA analyst who was left over from the Obama White House who wrote the memo that led to the impeachment. It was all based on hearsay. The person had not actually been in the room with Trump. Nonetheless, this memo that he wrote relied heavily on a report done by an organization funded by USAID. In fact, its initial founding funding, I mean, now it's tens of millions of dollars, had gone into this group called the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, a name that's not very memorable, OCCRP, but it was basically created as an extension of the State Department and then of USAID. And as you know, Jesse, this is very serious to be involved in an effort to do regime change at home, as we've been discovering as the files have come out with what Elon Musk has been doing. We know that USAID was really about regime change abroad. It was a kind of public-facing part, regime change operation like CIA, but not covert, more overt. Well, now you see a similar blowback, just like they did censorship abroad and brought censorship tools back home. They were doing this sort of thing abroad, creating a predicate essentially for Trump's impeachment. So I think it's just one of many revelations that we'll see coming out in the next few weeks.
So USAID was involved in regime change abroad and here at home.
Wow.
Very interesting. If you want to read more about what Mike's talking about, go to his Substack after the show. Don't go right now. Go after the show. Thanks, Mike. What happened when you raised concerns that this thing was just a big corrupt money pit?
Yeah, so I reported one of my subordinates for criminal conflict of interest. And I mean, the first discouraging sign was I was told, well, that's nice you want to do that. Most people here don't want to report corruption. Now, they didn't tell me why. I later figured out it's because you get in a lot of trouble. So I was accused of publishing classified information.
Oh.
I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but wait, you don't get in trouble for the corruption. You get in trouble for reporting the corruption. This is the deep state. And I just showed you, you literally have news outlets trying to be a proponent for the deep state.
Something I'd written 2 years earlier, which had never been subjected to any prior question. And so they ultimately used that to fire me. Now, the people who were engaged in the corruption managed to hold on to their jobs. And so there's a culture of corruption that says, if you are going to criticize anything corrupt, we're going to come after you. And we're going to use the tools that are supposed to be used to go after criminals to come after you. So they ended up firing me based on this bogus accusation. And I've been in court for the last 3 years trying to get them to turn over the facts. And this is, of course, what we've seen with a lot of cases with Senator Ernst, for example. They refuse to turn over information to the courts or to members of Congress. And so this is why people are fed up.
So they stonewall and then they weaponize classified information to take you down. That sounds quite familiar. How do you think Doge is doing so far uncovering this fraud inside USAID?
Well, from what I've seen so far, they seem to be doing a good job. You know, I do think you're going to need forensic accountants to go in there. It's probably going to take a long time because these bureaucrats have devised very crafty ways to hide money. So I was there in 2019, more than 2 years after the Trump administration came in the first time. We were still finding programs that the political appointees didn't know about. Now, you'd think you'd go in and say, okay, guys, tell us where the money is. But somehow, you know, that they will come up with some excuse why they didn't give it to you. And that's partly why I think you're seeing this more heavy-handed approach, because the people there were so good the first Trump term at hiding things from us and mislabeling them and slow rolling them. And, you know, you also, I think the first term, some of the Trump appointees were frankly not as vigilant as they should have been. It seems like now there's a much stronger effort and a more concerted effort to go in and get all of the information.
Guys, oh my goodness. They're dropping, guys, we're getting bombshells dropped every single day on the corruption in Washington, D.C., guys. You got to be kidding me. Thank you so much, Andy, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, if Trump wants all the goods, he should take Zelensky into protective custody, provided he spilled the beans on everyone. I believe it. What is it from the movie The Dark Knight where the Joker says, I know, what is it called? When you see somebody and you know they're going to squeal? Yeah. Zelensky, he's a squealer. Right now, guys, this is messed up. The Senate Judiciary Committee has postponed Kash Patel's nomination vote for FBI director by 1 week. Why? Because they're trying to cover up, guys. They're trying to, whatever they're trying to do, they're trying to fight it. It's happening. But you know what? Trump's people are going to get in. On top of that, Trump's DOJ slaps Illinois, Chicago with lawsuit over sanctuary cities. Guys, what I love is that no matter what resistance is coming towards Trump, he's got a plan for it, guys. They already anticipated that this would happen. And what I love is that they're already knocking these people out with the truth, with law, with lawsuits. It is beautiful. Check this out.
Here, China, this is the lead story in this morning's Financial Times of London. China seeks ammunition for Trump talks by reviving U.S. big tech probes. They said they're going to go after Google and others. What China is doing is looking for every tool in the toolbox, because President Trump said, hey, it's going to be some tariffs here, maybe a trade war, never know. He's trying to reach an accommodation. He understands President Trump does not want a shooting war. He wants peace and prosperity. You saw yesterday in the Gaza announcement, which was kind of next level 5D chess. I was not expecting that one. As you know from our coverage yesterday, we're talking about, are we going to be lighting up Persia? And I hope we're not, but other people disagree with that. But we're having a good, I think, kind of robust debate and talking about Bibi's trip, and President Trump drops the bomb of his vision of Gaza. In China, it's more kind of mano a mano right now. You don't want to get caught in the middle of that. Remember, all the supply chains, everything President Trump and Peter Navarro tried to do during the pandemic, the supply chains still rest in China. Active pharmaceutical ingredients, API, I think is virtually 100% made in China. Even the generics that are made in India, which I think may be 20% of the market, China being the other 100% of it's made overseas, and very little to nothing here. Mexico. First question. 15 days into this thing, 16 days into it, is the southern border of the United States of America secure, sir?
It's as close as I've seen it in decades. 440 crossings the day before yesterday. They're in the 400 range now a day, border length from Tijuana all the way to Matamoros. That's stunning. That's down 2/3 from where it was on Biden's final week in office. The border is really pretty darn hermetically sealed at this point. And it's going to stay that way because of the tariff threat from Trump has got the Mexicans now deploying 10,000 troops who are going to double layer that thing to make sure that more people don't try to penetrate. The most important part of it is that even the 400 or 500 a day that are crossing, none of them are being released. They are all being expelled or detained. Often right back to Mexico or detained and flown. There was a flight to India. There was a flight to China. There have been a bunch of flights to Colombia, as we all know, a bunch more since that whole kerfluffle. And the immigrants, the aliens that are trying that want to cross are, aware that they're stuck. They're not coming through. Wherever they got caught when the gate closed is where they are. And most of them are going to be in Mexico. And so the big problem that we had in the United States, all our mayors and our governors and, spending all this budget is now Mexico's problem. And they are in chaos down there trying to figure out how to handle it. Hundreds of thousands stuck down there.
Okay, hang on for a second. I want to go back. The border is secured.
It took about
but hang on. When Mayorkas said that, it had no meaning. When Joe Biden said that, it had no meaning. When Kamala Harris said that, it has no meaning. When Todd Bensman says that, it has meaning.
Yes.
You wrote the definitive book on this topic, and you're the first person to come on here and say, hey, I want everybody to know it is not chaos. This is very well thought through what is happening on this invasion. So when Todd Bensman comes back here and says, for all sakes and purposes, the border is secured, walk me through, what does Todd Bensman mean by that? Give me some details.
Right. Well, it means that very, very, very few illegal aliens are crossing the border anymore. And the reason is because of expulsions and detentions and deportations. I'm pretty sure that you've asked me a bunch of times on this show, how long, Todd, would it take? Do you think it would take to, shut that border down? And my answer is always about an hour, maybe less.
Wow.
And that's about how long it took. It's just a flick of the switch. We did not need a Lankford Senate bill that they talked about all through the campaign, or comprehensive immigration reform or anything like that. We had the laws on the books. We just had to simply apply them, to have the will to apply them. That's what Trump did on inauguration when the clock struck noon plus 1 minute. They canceled the parole programs, the flights, the walking them across.
Yep.
And everybody said, wow, when you cancel those parole entries, those scheduled illegal entries that the government's doing the illegal smuggling, they're all going to start rushing the border. But that didn't happen. So that's over. There were 70 or 80,000 a month being brought in that way, flown directly into U.S.
70
cities
or 80,000
and brought
a
in
month.
over the border, and that's over. And now you just got the 400 or 500 a day, and they're all being easily captured. There's probably a few runners who got away. There's always going to be that, but that's just that's a low norm for the
Guys, how beautiful does that sound? Finally a secure border. Just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for your support, guys. We got almost 1,600 people watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, let's hit that 1,000 likes, guys. We can do it. Thank you so much for your support. Doge, we finally got the true meaning of what Doge means, everybody. It means Democrats officially getting exposed. You will not believe what I'm about to show you next, because this literally sounds like fiction. Listen to this. U.S. government invests $500,000 through USAID to pilot new voting technologies in 2024 in Bosnia and Herzegovina municipal elections. So you mean to tell me that the Democrats, who don't want us to have the voting and all the secure technology in the United States, yet we're going to go and pilot state-of-the-art technology voting machines in other countries? $500,000 of taxpayer dollars, guys. You cannot make this up. Thank you so much, Richie with Asphalt Fusion, who said Trump really pulls the plug on the big swamp and drains it all. Keep up the great work on this channel. Let's go. Y'all show Richie some love in the chat. And Andy said Zelensky is a not alive man walking and will be blamed on Putin. USAID is involved in all log this. I'm telling you, Andy, I'm with you, brother. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat too, as well as Albert Medrano, who said, we finally got the truth. Thank you, Mr. President. Truth, justice, president, gratitude. Let's go. Y'all show Albert some love in the chat. Guys, let me show you this. Things are getting heated in Congress right now because we literally have where some of these Democrats said they're ready to fight. And I'm talking fist fight, guys. Listen to this.
$7 trillion in annual spending, 400 agencies and sub-agencies, 1,000 boards and commissions. I think anyone, maybe even the people on the other side of the aisle, I think anyone would say, almost everyone would say, that's too big. And when you have big government, does big government have a tendency to spend taxpayer money on stupid things?
That's part of the reason that we're here, and it's one of the things that Citizens Against Government Waste has been documenting for many, many years.
You've been highlighting this for like 100 years. I mean, I've known you for a long time.
Organization,
God bless you for persisting.
Organization, 41 years. I've been there 39.
And when you spend money, when you're the person spending money on something stupid, you just assume, you would just kind of hope that people don't really notice that, right? If you're in the government, and you're spending, what did Miss Bober just say, $32,000 for a transgender comic in Peru, $16 million in gender development offices. You're spending money on stuff like that. You just kind of hope that people probably don't notice that. Is that probably fair to say? That's kind of human nature, I would think.
Well, that's part of the problem, is that the taxpayers don't know exactly how the money is being spent because there is not the transparency that, for example, Iowa, Ohio, Arizona, and other states have. And we should be able to push a button and find out how your tax dollars are being.
And so it's understandable why everyone on the left, all the proponents of big government, all the supporters of big government, all the people getting the taxpayer money from big government, it's understandable why they are attacking Elon Musk, because he's pointing out the stupid things that government spends money on. Is that fair to say?
Well, he's not making it up, and in fact, many of the recommendations he's making.
Great point. He's not making it up. He's citing every single thing.
Right.
Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's there. I mean, look, the Department of Education has been something that was recommended by President Reagan to be eliminated, and many others since then. U.S. Digital Service, U.S. Doge Service. Digital Service was duplicating the private sector. Same with 18F at GSA. So he's already helped save money by doing that.
So Democrats, instead of saying, yeah, we should probably not spend $32,000 for a transgender comic in Peru. Yeah, it's probably not a wise expenditure of taxpayer money to have Sesame Street played in Baghdad, Iraq. It's on all that list. Instead of saying we should figure out how we stop that, they're saying, no. We got to stop the guy who's pointing out the stupid things that government's spending money, taxpayer money, the money that people in the 4th district that I represent, their money on these kind of stupid things. Now it's being reported that there's something even maybe worse going on. It's been reported today that media outlets were paid millions of dollars by USAID. Now, the media outlets are saying this is for subscriptions to their publication, but I find that interesting. And one of the particulars that's pointed out, the FDA paid Politico $517,000 for 37 subscriptions. That seems kind of high to me. Does that seem that way to you, Mr. Schatz?
Doing the math quickly, that seems excessive, yes.
Yeah, that seems a lot for now. Maybe there's some explanation here. Maybe this, maybe Politico is so darn important that it costs that much and taxpayer money should be spent for. But I find that interesting, particularly $517,000 for 37 subscriptions when it's the press, the government paying the press. Does that in some way maybe jeopardize what the press, the free press that we're supposed to have in our great country?
Well, it's certainly something that taxpayers probably didn't know until today. I didn't know that.
Didn't know it till today, and it's also government paying the press that kind of money. 37 subscriptions will give you $500,000. Might Politico write favorable things about the particular administration is paying that money? I don't know. I'm not saying that happened, but you can sure look at some of the things that's been reported by some of the press, particularly Politico, and you can't help but ask that question. Governor Reynolds, I got like 50 seconds. You came all the way from the great state of Iowa. I'll give you a chance to comment on any of the things I raised there. But I do think this is amazing. The guy who's pointing out the stupid things the government spends money on, that's who gets attacked versus, no, let's fix the stupid things and not spend money on them. I just don't get that. And I think the American people have common sense, and that's how they look at it. My guess is, I know lots of good people in Iowa, they have lots of common sense. That's probably how they look at it.
That's exactly how they look at it. $36 trillion in debt, $2 trillion annually being added to the debt. Kevin and I have 11 grandchildren. I want them to have the same opportunity I did growing up, and I appreciate President Trump trying to right-size the ship and get it back in line. And I don't hear any answers to the contrary. What are their answers except for leave everything the way it is? And that's not working. So thank you.
That's not what you did in Iowa. You didn't leave everything the way it is, and you changed things, and taxpayers got more efficient government, which is exactly what we want. I yield.
Guys, let me tell you this. I hope you're sitting down because what I'm about to show you next, this is insane right here. USAID provided $37 million for sex workers, their clients, and transgender people in South Africa to get HIV medicine. Your tax dollars at work, guys. Look at the actual receipt. You cannot make this up, guys. Your boy, I bring the receipts. Roger Decker, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, we are witnessing history being made. Grab your pop and popcorn and enjoy this new revolution in progress. I love it. Thank you so much, Surgical Wizard, who said, Joel, can Mexico close its southern border too? 100%. That's why they're sending 10,000 soldiers, Mexican soldiers, to the border. And Lay Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat, who said, forget the dustpan. President Trump's dump truck is running dem scared. FYI, my dad came through the open heart surgery without any hiccups. Thank y'all so much for your prayers. I love it. Let's go. Y'all show Lay Lewis, Surgical Wizard, and Roger some love in the chat, everybody. This right here, guys, you cannot make this up. Almost $38 million of your hard-earned tax dollars were chosen by USAID to go to this. It is disgusting. To me, it's appalling. I'm so glad every single USAID worker has been put on leave. Rightfully so. They don't deserve when they have misused all these funds, guys. And listen to this. Because they orchestrated, USAID and the CIA orchestrated all of Trump's impeachments, all the news outlets. Listen to this.
Yes, Norm Eisen and the myriad of organizations that he both represents, serves on the board of, or just has been instrumental in the founding of, really is the railhead, the tip of the spear when it comes to all things lawfare. It's not just something that started last month or January 20th. He's been a key figure in basically all of President Trump's impeachments, advocating, even before he was sworn in the last time around, I think for 10 articles of impeachment. He played a really, really critical role in the sort of ongoing lawfare from 2020 to 2024 against President Trump. But I purposely left in that last part of Lawrence O'Donnell thanking Norm Eisen because I knew it would trigger the audience. And I think that January 6th comment that he sort of leads the segment with really, I think, puts into reference, into frame what Norm Eisen and that whole sort of color revolution extraordinaire apparatchik class of really really what is the permanent political class here in Washington, D.C. that doesn't like the idea that President Trump proposes a sort of foreign policy consensus. What they're trying to do right now in terms of not just resisting, but they prefer the term opposing. Mark Elias had sort of a notorious op-ed a few months back saying, we're not the resistance anymore, we're the opposition. And what do I mean by that? Framing what's going on at USAID, at DOJ, at the FBI, now it's metastasizing into the Labor Department, as January 6th is something that this audience, I think, is acutely aware of, which is using a so-called crisis and putting it through the lens of, democracy is under attack, and using it to more broadly smear and come after MAGA and after President Trump. And what you're seeing now is Norm Eisen having his hand through this group called the State Democracy Defenders Foundation. And basically every lawsuit that's trying to hamstring President Trump's, again, they call it an authoritarian agenda. I would call it promises made, promises kept.
Yes.
But specifically when it comes to the vertical that is the FBI, Norm Eisen, in conjunction with Mark Zaid, who was another attorney involved in the first impeachment of President Trump, they put forth a complaint saying that basically President Trump's efforts to root out radical weaponized FBI agents, well, that was political retaliation that could not stand. Like you saw in that clip, they're now suing the Labor Department.
Guys, I want to say thank you so much for all your support. We literally got almost 1,900 people watching, guys. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, let's get to 1,500 likes on stream, guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Mark Zaid also intimately involved in that effort, but it goes all the way to Kash Patel's confirmation too. The voice is that you've been hearing, pushing for additional hearings, additional probing, really additional, shall we say, struggle sessions for Kash Patel. Well, the person behind that is none other than Norm Eisen, who's been writing letters to senators, like I said, from that State Democracy Defenders Fund, which has played a really interesting role, too, in securing elections. But we can table that discussion for another time. But this is sort of, they call us conspiracy theorists, right, Steve?
Yep.
And I've always pushed back on that framing of it. They're not conspiracies. It's just pattern recognition, because it's the same people who really are just the front men for the same donors, foundations, and philanthropic entities, NGOs, really they're waging war on this country, but they're the same people who were involved in the lawfare against President Trump his first term, in that sort of interregnum period, and now in the second term. And to that point, we have a Washington Post article we can flash on screen. They're noting the difference in the resistance tactics this time around. It's not so much the mass mobilization protests, though we've seen a little bit of that so far, but right now you can see it. It's in the court and it's not in the streets.
Yes.
So hang on for 1 second. We're going to spend a good part of the show today deconstructing all this and talking about how it's going to be a big part of the resistance for.
Guys, let me tell you, the resistance is beautiful because Trump learned a lot of things, guys, during his first term. And he's so smart, guys. He's doing things in such a different way. I wanted to show you this, guys, because sometimes you just got to have a good laugh. The Babylon Bee, a satire post, they put a satire post, said Democrats delay Kash Patel's vote as FBI hasn't finished shredding all their documents. That one's for you, Andy. And thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, that is very sad. So many homeless people in this country and these traitors using our taxpayer money to fund their perverted ideology. 100%. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. Guys, 100%. Most of the money overseas was for what? Trans ideology. LGBTQ, like, do taxpayers really want their money being spent on that? Is that really the best use when we've got seniors that are trying to live on what? Less than $1,000 a month? Are you kidding me? Check this out, because Trump is moving fast.
A whirlwind. It's only Wednesday. Since Monday, Trump started and stopped 2 trade wars, raided USAID, brought Bibi into the White House, and blew the media's minds with the MAGA strip. And today, our new Attorney General, Pam Bondi, says she's going to defund sanctuary cities and prosecute anyone that gets in ICE's way. And a few hours ago, Trump banned guys from competing in women's sports.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding.
I love it.
The president was surrounded by female athletes of all ages when he signed the paper. Watch.
Oh, I think we have a 10. We have a 10.
God bless you, Mr. President.
But this won't even be the biggest executive order of the week. In a few days, Trump's supposed to nuke the Department of Education. This is enough action to eat up a year. J.D. Vance says, quote, I think he's done more in 2 weeks than, frankly, Biden did in 4 years, and Obama did in 8. It really is a breakneck pace, and that really does flow directly from presidential leadership.
Let's go.
He's constantly asking us, how many days do we have left? How many weeks do we have left? What have we done today? It's a constant drive from the top, and it's why I think you see all these great things coming out of the White House. But he is having fun. 47's having a good time, but Democrats aren't. They're already trying to impeach him. Again.
Right here, guys.
The movement to impeach the president has begun. I rise to announce that I will bring articles of impeachment against the president for dastardly deeds proposed and dastardly deeds done.
Trump spitballing a few ideas for Gaza, and Dems are accusing him of ethnic cleansing. Take a deep breath. Getting mad about everything Trump does is bad for your health, and it's bad politics. Some Democrats get that.
There's an opportunity for us if we can stay disciplined. Still got to fight all of the other bull, but we do not need to chase every flying monkey that Donald Trump hurls at us.
If Democrats want to win their base back, they need to chill. Be like Fetterman.
For me, I didn't take it as like a serious situation, and it's just about shaking things up. And there's going to be a lot of balls coming down the plate, and I'm waiting for a strike when I'm going to start to swing.
Democrats rallied as many people as they could for their big revolution today. The only problem was no one really knew what they were rallying for.
What do we need?
Democrats are in a rut. They have weak leadership and mixed messaging. So what's their latest strategy? Treat Trump like the pandemic and hold daily press conferences.
I thought Governor Andrew Cuomo did a great job in New York of having a daily briefing from New York about the state of affairs for the COVID pandemic. You know, why aren't we seeing that from the Democrats and others today, but especially from the Democrats? I think that you cannot over-communicate. You have to start communicating with the American people now and telling them what is happening, showing them you're going to stand up.
Maybe instead of fighting Trump, they meet him in the middle or at the White House, like Gavin Newsom, who had an audience with the president today to talk about wildfires. These two guys don't like each other very much. Trump treats him like Little Rocket Man. He busts his chops online, but he's still willing to break bread with him.
Yep.
This is confusing for people. And that's the point. Nobody can get a read on Trump, even though he's totally transparent. It's what makes people uncomfortable. But it also forces them to change their behaviors and think outside the box. If you want to make everybody comfortable, nothing changes. And America voted for change. Founding member of DOJ and former presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. All right, Vivek. How have the Democrats handled these first 3 weeks? Is treating Trump like a virus with daily press conferences the answer?
I think it's been disastrous for them. But the reality is, Jesse, I think every American should be proud and energized by the fact that we have a president who has the energy to actually lead our country instead of turning the White House into a nursing home, which is what we had under Joe Biden.
Ooh.
If you think about President Trump moving at a crazy pace, that's what they'll say. Think about the craziness of the last 4 years. Unprecedented open borders with an illegal influx of migrants like we haven't seen in American history. Foreign wars popping up at a scale we haven't seen in a half century. Think about inflation we haven't seen in a half century. Combine that with backdoor government censorship using tech companies to do their dirty work through the back door that would make our founding fathers roll over in their graves. Starting with that, yes, President Trump does have to move at a fast and furious pace. I'm grateful that he is. And you know what? I think most Americans are too. What do Democrats at home care about? Not the elites, but the actual Democrat voters at home. They care about their lives actually being more secure, more prosperous, and better. That's what President Trump's delivering, and it's why I think he's going to unite the country in the process.
So Democrats are going to the mattresses over foreign aid. A lot of that foreign aid probably winds up in their pockets. We'll find out more later. When you hear about Politico getting paid by the Biden people $26 million, does that make sense?
Of course it doesn't make sense, and that's part of the point of why it's been so non-transparent, Jesse. The idea of foreign aid, in some sense, I don't think we should be using our taxpayer dollars even to help people in foreign countries when we should be helping our own citizens here at home first. But the irony is it's not even going to help starving children in Africa or poor people in other countries. That's just the smokescreen and the excuse to actually carry out a political agenda through the back door. I think it was shameful that we're finding about state-funded media here in the United States. But I think equally bad is the fact that we're using that USAID, that foreign aid industrial complex, to push progressive ideas, LGBTQIA plus agendas, woke and DEI agendas, onto foreign countries that cause people in those other countries to actually hate the United States for values that most Americans don't even share. In some ways, it's the financial cost that's bad, but that's the least of it. It's actually the other effects of that illicit foreign aid that's hurting the United States even geopolitically in other ways. I'm glad it's coming to an end. We've had 4 years to complain about this. Now we've had 2 weeks, soon 3 and 4 weeks to actually fix the problem. That's why the people sent Donald Trump in, not for incremental change, Jesse, but for sweeping change. And that's what he's delivering.
All right, he's sweeping out the fraud too.
Guys, I love it, guys. And this is the thing. Trump is making sure to literally go after everybody. See, this is his post from this morning. CBS and 60 Minutes defrauded the public by doing something which has never to this extent been seen before. They 100% removed Kamala's horrible election-changing answers to questions and replaced them with completely different and far better answers taken from another part of the interview. This was election-changing stuff, election interference, and quite simply election fraud at a level never seen before. CBS should lose its license, and the cheaters at 60 Minutes should all be thrown out. This disreputable news now should be immediately terminated with the new Democrat scandal that just arose with respect to USAID illegally paying large sums of money to Politico and other media outlets. The question must be asked, was CBS paid for committing this fraud? Many other questions to come. This will go down as the biggest broadcasting scandal in history. Guys, I want to show you the receipts. Right here, what you're about to see is from the interview, and you're going to see, because them literally tell the interviewee to ask a question. But Kamala is not going to answer. That's not the purpose. They just wanted him to ask the question so that they could cut it up, edit, and do whatever they need to after the fact, guys. I bring the receipts. Watch this.
Madam Vice President, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. It's good to be with you.
This is after the interview's been done.
Can we just get just a little bit of a question, please, so I can get it over your shoulder shot? Yeah. Just a second. Okay, thank you. You me talking? Yes, sir. Well, we were talking about how you're going to pay for it, and I mean, I truly do mean it. Your plans are logical, make logical sense. The way Washington works is not logical. So how are you going to convince a divided Congress that what you say, your plans, are something that they should all agree to and provide to the American people when they've shown no inclination to do that up to this point?
Is that what you needed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you just hear that? Is that what you needed? She's not even answering the question. They just wanted him to ask the question. Listen to this.
30 seconds of silence, please, for John. Cameras are off. How will you?
You see?
It's going to be taxes. It's going to be literally, if the economists, I mean, they're from each the spectrum.
But I hear what you're saying
Yeah.
about the economists. This is true.
Yeah.
But Congress is not the economist.
I know.
Guys, do you hear this staged question? Making sure the cameras are picking up. And then as soon as cameras are off, so how are you going to? Oh, it's going to be the taxes, the economist. And she doesn't give an answer. Ava Bernard, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Ava some love in the chat. Guys, this is what Donald Trump is suing CBS for $10 billion for. Is that right there? They staged it. They tried to make her look good. And now, if we find out that CBS got money from USAID, I'm telling you, this may be the end of CBS. They're going to get sold. Something's going to happen because this is one of the biggest scandals in American history. Election interference at the highest level on the Democrats. Not even, guys, and listen to this because it gets even worse.
But here's where it gets really dark. Because right now, Ukraine, there's reporting 9 out of 10 media outlets in Ukraine are funded by USAID. Otherwise, they would not exist. That's a Ukraine foreign minister's own words, not mine. Norm Eisen has been screaming in the Brookings Institution and the mainstream media. There's a piece we can put on screen, quote, investigative journalism is essential for Ukraine reconstruction and anti-corruption. They have used the weaponization of journalism through USAID and all of these foreign countries, not to expose or dox autocratic leaders, but to defend themselves and be the Praetorian Guard for the corrupt activities that they've been engaging in. Because you know why, Steve? USAID wants to be funding the journalists on the ground in Ukraine? Because they want the concept of controlled opposition. They don't want the audits. They don't want actual reporters who are going to be digging in to the what? I guess it's now just $77 billion, but what was nearly $200 billion in aid. They want to be controlling the journalists, controlling the messaging, and USAID has been the platform through which they've done that, just like they tried to control President Trump with the first impeachment. But now they know Ukraine audits are probably coming. That gravy train's ending. So they are in full-blown meltdown and panic because they know that they're not going to be able to control the narrative.
Guys, right now, we are seeing the whole corrupt deep state being exposed like never before. Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching, guys. We literally have over almost 2,300 people watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Let me take care of you every single day with the top news. Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, it really does help out so much with growing this channel and getting this the news out there. I want to say thank you so much to all of our members of the channel. Remember, we use our members fees and super chats, and we use that money, we give back to charity once a month live on stream. We have given to Wounded Warriors, we've given to Samaritan's Purse, we have given to charities that affect kids, orphans, Tupelo, Children's Home. Guys, in this next month, in the month of February, we're going to be giving to New Beginnings. And we use this money because we want to bring a positive change. I want this channel to be known for giving just as much as known for bringing the truth, guys. And we partner with you to do that. Thank you so much, Glenn Hutchcraft, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Glenn some love in the chat. Want to give some love to Andy, Mama Dragon 65, Asphalt Fusion, which is Richie, Ruby Who, Albert Medrano, Roger Decker, Surgical Wizard, Lay Lewis, Ava Bernard, Glenn Hutchcraft. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. We have memberships as low as 99 cents, guys, a month, which is, to me, that's the lowest that I can do because it's not about, we want to get as many members as possible because we want to be able to make it easy for people to afford and for us to build a community and then use that money to give back. And that's what I appreciate, that we have so many people that are already members. Thank you so much, Brenda Evans, for gifting 1 True Life News membership. Let's go. Y'all show Brenda some love in the chat. But I'm so excited for the truth. I'm so excited for where things are going. We are here to serve you every day with the top news. And I'm so thankful because I finally feel like our government and our politicians on the MAGA side are finally saying we're going to serve the American people too. Sherry Clem, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I feel so blessed and honored to be living in such a historic time. I love it. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat. Thank you for all your support, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.